Christian Weiss. I'm a 1983 graduate of Riverside High School, and I'm here to talk today. We're making a video to debunk the notion that the Riverside and John R. buildings are obsolete and in bad shape and need to be torn down. Okay, I'm here to show you many reasons why they do not need to be torn down and why we can continue to work with these buildings, upgrade some things that may be necessary to be upgraded, but I want to show you so you can see with your own eyes. And I invite you guys, come down to the school, okay? Take a walk around and look at the building, okay? The school district has, with this levy, issue 1 on May 3rd of 2022, is putting forth the notion that our school is in poor condition and we have to replace it for a cost of $147.7 million. But what they're not telling you is there's an additional $135 million in interest over 37 years. So this is going to cost more than $282 million. And since they have not, as of yet, created a blueprint, specifications, not even a floor plan, not even an artist's rendering of the building, they don't even know what they're going to build yet. Okay, so how can they possibly peg it at a cost point? They've also put forth that the cost of renovation and additions to the existing buildings is going to be 85% of replacement cost. I don't believe that to be true. Now you may wonder, what do I have to do? What's my qualifications to give that opinion? Okay, so let me give you a little bit of my background. I'm a graduate not only of Riverside in 1983, but a graduate of the Ohio State University with degrees in engineering. Okay, I have worked in construction since 1990. I've owned my own construction companies that did not only residential but commercial and industrial construction work. I have worked for the Lincoln Electric Company as a plant engineer, where we renovated an entire plant for the motor division. I have worked for Bechtel Power, which is one of the largest multinational construction companies in the world. And specifically, I worked on the Elm Road Generating Station project, which was a $3.2 billion, two 800 megawatt coal-fired steam-powered turbine units for Wisconsin Energy and the people of the greater Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. At the time, it was the largest construction project in the history of the state of Wisconsin. Additionally, I worked on another campus, Prairie States Power Generating, which was in Lively Grove, Illinois, just 50 miles east of St. Louis. After that, I worked as an engineer for Morton Salt at the Paynesville Township mine, the Morton Salt mine, and have a lot of experience with capital improvement and maintenance projects there. So I'm 56 years old. I have spent 37 years working in the construction industry at all levels, from building decks. I was the original founder of Decksmith, to building homes as Cornerstone Properties and Homes, and the companies I've just named. So let's take a look at our building a little bit. Hi folks, we're inside the Riverside main gymnasium, actually the Riverside High School gymnasium, and as you can see as you look around here, the floor is in good condition, the walls are in good condition, so are the bleachers, the padding along the walls to protect the athletes if they should run into the wall while trying to sink a basketball shot. The paint's even in really good condition. The only couple areas that I would address here would be, if we pan up to the lights, you see that those are 6 bulb lights, and I'm told that even though the light switch is on, 2/3 of the light bulbs are not working. Okay, now these are fluorescent lights. Okay, T8 bulbs and T5 bulbs. T8 bulbs that are 8 feet long typically consume 32 watts per bulb. If you replace those with LED bulbs, you will cut the energy cost by up to 80%. And get better lumens and more daylight light. Okay, so a couple things here that I noticed. Number one, 2/3 of the bulbs are not working even though the switch is on, but also we're here on a Saturday and the lights are on despite the fact that no one's in the school. So that's an energy loss that we're paying for. Another benefit of an LED lighting system is to have a mesh network as part and parcel of that system. And through the mesh network, you can control the lights being turned on and off. This could be done even by a maintenance crew member who might be at home. In fact, anyone that's given access to the mesh network can remotely check all the lighting, see what's on, what's off, turn things on and off as necessary, and control many other aspects of the school, such as perimeter doors, cameras, air conditioning, heating units, corrugated metal, what's called the roofing pan. That's insulation. Its purpose is obviously to help with energy. It's also to prevent the ceiling from sweating when the humidity changes and causing water to hit the floor. I could see that in a number of areas, some of that insulation is coming apart a little bit. That may be due to the students themselves throwing things up and hitting the ceiling. The gym teachers and maintenance people have told me that the kids do try to deliberately throw balls at the lights. But again, this is a repairable item. You know, as far as replacing bulbs, that's a maintenance issue, okay? Previously at public meetings, Mr. Kalis, the superintendent, has shown us a slide that shows that they're only spending $250,000 a year on the maintenance and upkeep of Riverside and John R. Williams. Well, for a facility that size, that's actually a pretty low number. But once again, maintenance being kept up to the day is the way to keep your building viable, just like we have to maintain our homes. We have to clean our gutters, we have to sometimes get some excess snow off the roof, repaint the outside, and so on. And so many of these issues I'm bringing up as we go through here are maintenance issues. They are not tear down the school issues. Once again, we're standing in the Riverside Gymnasium, and when we pan up to the ceiling, you'll notice there are brown stains on the insulation panels. That's generally indicative of water that has seeped through the roofing membrane and gotten through the roof deck to those insulation panels. This is evidence of that if this was a past leak and it was repaired, typically the water stain remains. If it is a leak that's current, it's evidence that we need to go up on the roof and see what's going on. Over here against the wall, we see a pipe coming down through the roof. It goes in a 90-degree elbow and it exits through the wall. That is a roof drain, okay? And there are numerous roof drains inside this room. There's another one over there, and it looks like there's 4 of those in this. And those drains, there's one there, there's one there, there's one down the end. So I take it back, there's 6 of these drains. What are they to do? If we were to go up on top of the roof, we would notice that the roof has a pitch to it. Probably looks like about a 212 pitch, which means the roof slopes downward 2 inches for every foot of the span of the building, okay? And that's enough to get the water to drain towards the perimeter walls, and ultimately the roofing contractor would have set up his roof insulation such that he'd create a trough to direct the water to those drains. But those are maintenance items, okay? You have to go up on the roof periodically, several times a year, and at the very least inspect those roof drains and make sure that they're not full of leaves and debris. Because if they get full of leaves and debris, the water, when it rains or when the snow melts, will back up onto the roof membrane, and it will find a way to penetrate the roof membrane. So that's an area you send the maintenance guys up on the roof. They clean out the roof drains, make sure they're clean and they're flowing, and at the same time when they're up there, they look for defects in the roofing membrane, which can be fixed, okay? In the old days with a bituminous built-up roof system, a guy would go up on the roof with a 5-gallon pail of what the roofing industry guys called bull, okay? It's literally a tar compound, and you take a trowel, you trowel some bull out, you trowel it onto the cracks, and that's a repair. It's not a permanent repair, but it's one way to keep water from continuing to infiltrate the membrane of the roof and cause bigger problems. Here we are inside the main hallway by the west entrance of the west frontal entrance to the main hallway, which runs down the entire length of Riverside and towards John R. Williams Junior High School. I want to point out some of the things about what the students see, the faculty sees, anybody sees when they walk through the building, okay? First of all, we've got a terrazzo floor, okay? which is the same floor I recall when I went to school here in the 70s and 80s. It's a very durable floor. The floor is in really good condition. They've even actually kept up with the waxing of the floor and buffing it out. Nothing needs to be repaired here. And in walking through the building, I haven't seen any areas where there's any major floor problems, okay? With regard to the walls, okay? The walls are concrete block glazed with ceramic coating, okay? Again, they're very solid, okay? The kids would break their hands and feet trying to damage these walls, okay? They're made to last the life of the building. Overhead, we have an acoustic tile drop ceiling. Now the height of this ceiling is already at 9 feet, and there is space above that ceiling, above these tiles, but below the structural floor of the second floor hallway, okay? And it is in this area that we would propose to have contractors run any additional electrical, plumbing, HVAC, internet, whatever utility services that are needed to upgrade the building, okay, throughout all the rooms in the building can be run overhead. And as you can see, as you look down the hallway here, it's a clear shot the entire length of the building. We have classrooms on one side on the first floor and offices, gymnasium, auditorium, cafeteria on the north side of the hallway. But on the second floor, we'll have classrooms on both sides, okay? We'll go up on the second floor and I'll show you something similar there, okay? As to the ceiling, I see very little problem with the ceiling. It's in remarkably good condition. Many of the students, while they went here, had an opportunity to paint a ceiling tile. And I'm told that the art class allows the seniors to paint something appropriate and leave it behind when they leave, okay? We would want to preserve those to honor the students who've been here and been educated here. And those tiles are in good condition. So what I'm saying is this acoustic tile ceiling could be taken down. All of the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, HVAC, utility services could be run down this hallway. We won't have to break open walls to do that, okay? What we would have to do is if we're, I'll get to that when we're talking upstairs on a classroom. Once again, standing in this area, I see nothing that is so horribly deficient that would merit tearing this building down. As to areas of concern, we have a minor one here. We've got some cracked tiles. This could have been, you know, a kid slamming into the wall. It could have been somebody running a cart into the wall. But we have some cracked ceramic tiles, okay? These can be easily replaced. You scrape the grout. You use a putty knife to pry the tile off, clean the substrate behind it, and put another adhesive on there, put the tile back on, and retile that, okay? And as I see it on, although the camera can't see it, same on this wall here. This part right here is the concrete block, which has a ceramic coating. This is tile, like you might put in your bathroom, that's applied probably on a plaster wall substrate. And again, an easy repair, it's cosmetic, it is not structural. Standing here in the west stairwell of the Riverside High School, what I want to point out here is that these are original stairs to the building, okay? They've serviced the school for over 70 years, and they are still in excellent condition, I would say. The hand railings are solid, okay? I weigh 400 pounds, and I can't damage the railing, okay? I'm not trying to tear it off the wall, but it'll easily hold up to many more years of student use. Only one little issue I see is this stair tread, okay? There's a little bit of the concrete stair tread knocked off. It's typically not in an area where a student would actually step, because most people come around here and walk down in there away from the wall. This could be repaired, but again, that is a maintenance issue. We're now standing on the landing halfway up the west staircase, and what I want to point out here is the window, okay? This particular window, I'm going to say, is not original to the high school. It was replaced, and how do I know that? I'm looking at a double pane, thermal pane window, and the casing around it has also been redone. The window's in perfect shape. This is a thermal glass window, so it has an energy efficiency. While it may not be up to 2022 standards of U rating, okay, it is still a thermal window. If we pan up, The upper window, which looks to be older, may or may not be original to the building. It appears to be a single pane window in an aluminum frame with the mullions applied on the surface of the glass. Okay, that window could and possibly should be replaced, but again, when we're talking about these repairs and maintenance issues, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to prioritize these and attack the ones that are of the most immediate concern. We're going to repair or renovate the things that, if they're left unrepaired, would cause further degradation of the building. Okay, this window could arguably remain there for many more years. The only reason to replace it would be as if we go with a comprehensive heating, cooling, energy package upgrade. That window might be one of the reasons we would replace it, would be to get a better thermal U value on the window, and again, to help with energy efficiency. Not because the window doesn't work or isn't keeping the weather out. Hi, I'm standing here on the second floor of Riverside High School on the west end adjacent to Stairwell 3, and I want to address the ADA issues with the building. People have brought up that the building is lacking in ADA access and compliance. I want to show you that we do have an elevator that goes from the first floor to where I'm standing on the second floor, which would allow a person who's wheelchair or otherwise disabled to get to the second floor and get throughout the Riverside end of the building. Unfortunately, the new addition between the two schools is a single-story addition. So the one area where we may have an ADA issue is to get a student to the second floor on the John R. Williams side. Could that be corrected? Of course. Either an elevator could be installed on that end of the building, or we could put a chairlift on one of the several stairwells, I believe there's two in John R. Williams, to be able to get a person up the stairs. We're still on the second floor of the Riverside building. I'm adjacent to room 213, and we came upon an electrical service panel. What I want you to note, the panel door was open when we walked up to it. Okay, the panel doors do have a lock, and the custodians and maintenance staff most likely should have keys for these. This is a panel that should be locked at this time. Okay, so when the students come in on Monday morning, they can't mess with the circuit breakers. But what I want to show you here is that this is a sub panel. It doesn't have a main breaker in it, which is not a problem. This is designated as panel 3. What you'll notice here are 20 amp breakers. There's 2 banks of them. But what you'll also notice, there is additional knockouts available, such that we could add 5 circuits on each side, or a total of 10 circuits could be added to this panel. Okay, now that's under the presumption that the total load would not exceed the rated capacity of this panel, which is on this sticker right here. Okay, once again, I spoke about LED lighting systems. If we take out all these 4-foot troffers that have 4 probably T5 or T8 bulbs in them at 32 watts apiece, and we replace them with an LED bulb, that LED light is going to burn probably 20% of what these fluorescent lights burn. So that even though we have lights, and this one says off at night, okay, so the custodian or whoever's in charge of checking on lighting physically has to walk up here at night after whatever programming's done for the day and turn the switch off. Okay, with an LED system with a mesh network, this can be done. It could be set on timers that are controlled from a laptop or a handheld. Okay, and that can all be programmed to turn off at certain times, so we don't need to pay a maintenance person or custodian to do that, and if they forget, we're not paying for the energy on a Saturday or all night long. So again, we have enough capacity in this panel to add 10 20 amp circuits. That's 200 amps of electrical capacity, which should easily service the needs of the rooms within the range of this panel box. And we'll identify additional panel boxes as we walk down the hallway. Okay, standing on the second floor adjacent to room 218, and I'm looking at panel 4. Okay, once again, there are 4 available circuit knockouts to be added to here, and these are all 20 amp circuits, most of which are lighting and outlets, lighting in the hallways, as you can see. This and it's marked off at night. Okay, once again, with a mesh network, we can turn that on and off on a timer that's controlled by the computer, or someone could be doing that from a central station, okay? We're going to continue to go through the building. I'm going to show you that there is excess room for more circuits in these panels. Now, I don't want to mislead you. You do have to balance out the total amperage draw with the capacity of this box, okay? But again, with replacing replacing fluorescent lighting with LED, we're going to vastly cut down on the amount of energy that's drawn out of this panel for lighting. I'm standing at stairway number 5 that comes down to the first, I'm on the second floor, but it comes down to the first floor adjacent to the main high school lobby. As I'm looking at this stairwell, again, it's got terrazzo treads, which are generally in good condition. Handrails on both sides are in good condition. I can remember as a high schooler here, I used to grab both sides and slide down the rail, okay? There's nothing wrong with the handrail that I can tell. Some of the wear strips, the black wear strips, probably could be replaced. Those are there for added friction so that a kid who's moving up and down the stairs too fast, their foot doesn't slip off and they take a tumble down the stairs, okay? The only thing one could argue about this is that it's basically a straight run and not a very big landing. So if someone was on this flight and fell, hopefully they would stop at that landing and not continue to the bottom of the stairs, okay? But once again, 70 years of students, I'm not aware of anyone who's been seriously injured on this staircase. We're now standing in the band room. In my day, this was Mr. Capella's classroom. He was the band director at the time. And what we're looking at is obviously the band room. What we can see is we already have electronic device to project onto the whiteboard for presentations, video, and what have you. There's a very large panel over here with a lot of audio equipment. Again, it's a band room, so that's appropriate for here. I count at a quick glance just 2 outlets. There may be 1 or 2 more. Oh, 6 outlets? There are 6 outlets in this room, okay? 1 is right here and 5 others throughout the room. And we see also there is Cat5 wiring and computer wiring and 75 ohm outlets at that port right there. So without having the band director here to speak otherwise, it would appear to me that there's plenty of electrical capacity. We have a nice large room. The walls look good. Floor is good. This has actually got a parquet wood floor, carpeting on the risers where the musicians would be sitting. We have the thermal pane windows at the wall. I see that we have 2 split phase heating air conditioning units. These are probably heaters alone, and they're probably connected to the central steam plant of the building, okay, for heat, auxiliary heat into this room. But once again, this is a functional room to the extent that you have a band to train, and we have a very good band. The Riverside Regiment is known in many places. I've been personally down to Walt Disney World and happened to take my family there before my kids were even out of preschool. And what did I see as I walked up to the Magic Kingdom Castle was the Riverside Regiment Marching Band marching around the square. So that goes to the fact that we have excellent, excellent people, particularly with the band. People from all around come to the football games to see the band play. My mother was a drum major at Kirtland in the 1960s, and she loves to come and see the band, okay? And that is being done in this present facility. Okay. Hi, just a little bit of a conclusion on this particular room, the band room. Okay, once again, we have a room, the floors are fine, the walls are fine, the ceiling, arguably there's some dingy ceiling tiles up here. This entire room could have the ceiling tiles replaced by 2 maintenance guys, half a day, let's give them a day, okay? The bigger issue is with the lights. Looking up at the ceiling, I see that most of the, what do we have, there's 34 bulb troffers in the ceiling, and half of them have half the lights burned out, okay? I can see 4 bulbs in this troffer. Down there I see only 1. In this one I see 1. Only 2 in that one over there, okay? That's a combination of maintenance and repair. Why would the lights not be working? Either the bulb burned out or the ballast is going bad, okay? In either case, you simply climb up there, you replace the bulbs. If all the bulbs don't come back on, you check the ballast, okay? That's an easy fix for a competent maintenance guy. Again, not a tear down the building issue. I'm in room 231R on the north end of the building, behind the band room. And I think what I have found is most likely one of the original windows to the building. It's got a putty glass, single pane, wood frame, double hung sash with an old brass lock right here, okay? The window could open with a lot of effort, okay? Probably not a reason to open it because it only goes out onto a flat roof section. What we see is that we have a heat register coming off the central steam plant of the building, and we have an air conditioning unit installed. This is most likely a faculty member's office. But we have a new floor installed, the walls are painted, the drop ceiling is in good condition with exception of a couple tiles that have some stains on them. The two troughers, the fluorescent lights, both either need the bulbs and or ballast attended to. And looking out onto the flat roof area, I see that there are a couple of heating, ventilating, air conditioning units on the roof and a roof vent, wiring going to it. I see pebble ballast. This could be one of the oldest areas of the flat roof in the building. Looks to have a modified bituminous roofing membrane over a flat deck. And what is the pebbles on there for? That's called ballast. That's to protect the membrane from UV light and at the same time hold the roof down, so if you got a high wind condition it couldn't peel the membrane off of the metal deck. The parapet, which is the stone wall around it, appears to be generally in good condition, and the copper flashing, same thing. I see a couple of vents, stacked vents. There's probably plumbing in this room. In fact, there is, because that's an area over the kitchen, okay? And we'll be getting to the kitchen in a little bit. So these are probably range hood vents for the R300 fire protection system and the range hoods. It's not a vent for the fire protection system, but there is a fire protection system in the range hoods in the kitchen, which we'll show you in detail in a minute. What we're looking at is a bathroom inside of room 231R. I'm going to assume this is probably band director or assistant band director's office. What we see here is that the sink and the toilet have been replaced with new fixtures. Would have been nice if they had painted the wall, but you see we have a brand new floor, new plumbing fixtures, braided steel hoses to the supply lines for the sink faucet, and a new P-trap installed. So this is evidence in my mind of renovating a bathroom rather than tearing down the building to have a brand new bathroom. Once again, we're on the second floor of Riverside, adjacent to room 222. We are almost to the eastern stairwell that drops down to go through the media addition over towards John R. Williams. But bringing your attention to this panel, once again, we have two banks of 20 amp circuits here, and we have 10 available circuits that can be installed into here. These panels are designed to be able to be completely filled with 20 amp circuit breakers, okay? So we have 10 circuits available that can be added. Wiring can be run out of the bus connection of this panel to wherever it needs to go. We would recover energy from the lighting circuits where we replace them with LED bulbs. And this one is not labeled, but I'm assuming it's the third panel we've come across on the second floor of the building, okay? These are an old switch plate, which may or may not still work, but you would have needed a key to turn it on and off. And these are probably would have been the old switch for the hallway lights, and to keep the children from turning it on and off, they have a key type where you have to stick a key in there to make that work. And again, labeled off at night, okay? An LED lighting system with a mesh network control on it. You don't have to send a maintenance person or custodial person all throughout the building on all the floors to have them turn it on and off. That's going to save arguably an hour and a half of one person's labor every day. We're still on the second floor at Riverside, adjacent to room 233R, in front of the women's or girls' restroom. Something you should know, Riverside has 2 women's restrooms on this end of the building, this being the east end of the main hallway. One is on the 2nd floor, behind this door. One is on the 1st floor. Likewise, the 2 boys' rooms are at the opposite end of the hallway on the 1st and 2nd floor. Additionally, there are bathrooms in the gymnasium, some of the office areas, which those are not generally accessible to the students. But I want to bring your attention to this here. Restroom closed, block 3 until further notice. Use the downstairs restrooms, okay? Riverside District goes on a block program. There's block 1, 2, 3, 4 throughout the day. I'm not sure why this is blocked on block 4. Perhaps there's not a teacher to monitor it. But this brings up a point that has been a disciplinary problem in the school that's been ongoing for at least the last 2 school years. And that is, there's a social media challenge. I don't remember if it's on TikTok or one of the other social media platforms, but it challenges the students to destroy the restrooms. Arguably, this is worse with the boys, but what they're doing is tearing down the partitions, the towel holders, breaking mirrors, generally damaging the bathrooms. So the school has had to resort, in some cases, to regulating traffic in and out of the bathrooms, which I recognize it's a problem the administration is trying to deal with. Additionally, last fall, my sons had brought to my attention, and they have it numerous times, that the water doesn't generally work all that well in the bathrooms, okay? At least in John R. during a particular period of time. I was at a board meeting a couple months ago where they announced that they got a $30,000 water bill from Lake County Utilities. Lake County Utilities bills on a quarterly basis, so that's a 3-month water bill, okay? When you're talking about a school that they arguably don't use the showers any longer from gym classes, you're left with bathrooms, water fountains, and kitchens, okay? What happened was the water pipe coming into the building in John R. beneath the floor into the crawl space had a pipe hanger on it that dropped, and it didn't break the line completely, but it caused a leak, which continued for a substantial part of 3 months' time. And even though it was known that there was water pressure issues in the bathrooms at John R., it never got corrected until after a $30,000 water bill was presented, and only then was maintenance dispatched to go and investigate that. Again, this is not a tear down the building issue. This is a lack of maintenance, and this is a lack of responding to an obvious maintenance issue in a timely manner. I'm standing on the 1st floor in the Media Center addition is what I'm going to call it. Basically, this was the addition which, to the best of my knowledge, was built, I believe, around 2000, 2001, and it links Riverside to John R. Previously, there was a driveway going through here that the buses used, and the students would wait outside the entrance of John R. to get in the morning when they got off the bus. Presently, they've linked the buildings, and there's a large library, media center, where all of the Chromebooks are maintained, 2 doors down. Once again, I want everybody to notice that this is the newest part of the school, by the way, okay? Concrete block walls, okay? VCT tile flooring. And if you'll notice, the tile flooring, it's got a few bubbles here, got a few seams with a little bit of lift in them. Generally, the floor's still serviceable, but this being the newest part of the building, okay, and we looked at the terrazzo floors at Riverside, which are 70 plus years old. This is about 20 years old, okay, and you can see that this won't be a 70-year floor. Once again, it's a maintenance thing. At some point in the future, if these tiles start to fail or they start to wear through, you just scrape them up off the floor and lay a new floor. Okay, we're standing inside the west, what used to be the main entrance to John R. Williams on the west end of the building on the 1st floor. I wanted to bring your attention to this plaque. John R. Williams Junior High School, built in 1956. So when the school district makes the claim that it's the oldest school in Lake County after Fairport Harbor gets torn down, this building was actually built 8 years after the original Riverside building, okay? And the addition that we just came out of was built around the 1999-2000 time frame. I want to point out here, Clyde C. Haddon was the president. Henry Lamuth was the county superintendent. Okay, Lamuth is the middle school, and Haddon is one of the decommissioned elementary schools, the one on Route 20, which, by the way, is still a school. It didn't get torn down. It got sold to a charter school for $500,000. Go ahead. We're looking at another circuit panel. This one is for the cafeteria at John R. Williams, okay? This is an older panel than the ones we've been looking at previously. It is, however, still a circuit breaker panel, okay? It's full at this point in time, and it doesn't look like we can add, in order to add additional circuits, we would have to either put half-height breakers in here, which is possible within the electrical code, or an additional panel, okay? But as I've been saying right along, if we take out, and I'm going to move over here, so pan with me. This is our cafeteria for the 7th and 8th and 9th graders to eat their lunch in, okay? My son eats lunch here every day. Concrete block walls, metal pre-hung doors, VCT tile floor, acoustic tile ceiling, banks of fluorescent lighting. And as we can see, everything's in working order. They even have television monitors. 1, 2, 3 on that side. There's speakers, bells, everything you need for a cafeteria room. Could this room presumably is utilized as study hall when it's not during the lunch period. That's what they did in my day. Presumably they still do that. I'm going to presume that with the monitors present, they could actually conduct a class period in here, okay? If they wanted to, they could put mobile partitions that could be drawn across, and they could make this into 3 classrooms. And there are doors off of here for ingress and egress from the hallway outside, okay? So once again, there is nothing about this room that tells me the building needs to be torn down. We are now standing in the John R. Williams cafeteria, in the kitchen part of it. The students come in from the hallway through the door behind the camera. We have 2 food lines, so 2 lines of students can come through here. There are 5 hot trays where trays of food can be put in here. This, I believe, it says garden patch. It's probably a chilled area for fresh salad or garden items. I'm going by the signs here. The hot spot, we've got 5 trays for food. On this side, it also says hot spot and another 5 trays of food. So the serving staff can have pre-prepared food in the pans in this hot line, 5 on each side. You can serve 5 different menu items, and the students grab a tray as they walk in and they come down the line. If they want garden type items, I'm presuming since it says garden patch, that's where that goes. Then we have 2 coolers, a Snapple cooler for drinks and another cooler for chilled items, whether they be fruit, cottage cheese, I'm not sure, but certainly a lot of stuff can be served there. Another food serving station, okay? Other items here could be chips or something. On both sides, we have 2 cash registers with point of sale systems, okay? This has always served the needs of the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders at John R. Williams. I went through this cafeteria for 2 solid years in the 8th and 9th grade. My sons have used it, I've spoken to them, and I've asked, is there any problem with getting your lunch? No, none at all. What we're going to do is I'm going to move into the kitchen area. We're going to talk about that. Okay, now we're on the food preparation side of the John R. Williams kitchen. Previously we talked about the serving lines, which are to my left. We have food prep tables with pans. There's adequate space for multiple kitchen staff to work in here. We've got a hot box with 3 doors on it. Behind me here, 2 convection ovens, more hot boxes. There's a hand washing station for the staff. As I move over towards this area, we have another oven, vertical rack type oven. And why don't you come around to this side of the island. And here's the range hood. Okay, the range, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 burner range. Okay, you can see some of the stock pots underneath here. The kitchen can easily prepare up to 10 items at a time. It has a proper range hood with an R300 fire protection system in it. Again, the oven behind me, and as I walk over to this area, pan with me, we have a cooler, and we have a double refrigerator, and then we have our can rack with our number 10 cans. Okay, let's look at some of the food items our children are eating. Campbell's tomato soup. This probably, water gets added to it, 1 can of water per can, and served. Okay, if they're making spaghetti and meatballs, there's spaghetti sauce. Okay, yellow cling diced peaches. Mixed fruit, green beans, pineapple, vegetable bean soup, and ketchup. Okay, so there's a rack that could arguably make for several days of food items for the students. It's not all they're going to eat, but it's a substantial amount of food. We also have a refrigerator right here, and we have a walk-in cooler. Okay, the walk-in cooler it's about 10 by 14, and as you can see, they've got items they need to keep cool. Soda pop, muffins, other food items that are perishable. Okay? Believe it or not, this is more than adequate for the number of students here. You've got the kitchen office, a desk. I'm going to switch places with you, and I want to show this station here. The kitchen has its own mixer. You know, this could easily be the original mixer from 1956. So what? It's probably built to last 100 years. I've got woodworking machinery in my shop, and I purposely try to look for the oldest, heaviest stuff I can find, okay? This thing is built like a tank, and it'll probably run for another 50 years, okay? Microwave oven, prep sink. As you follow me over here, we're going to go to the dishwashing area. I'm now in the area where the trays are clean and dishes are washed. There's an overhead door in from the cafeteria. Students bring their trays up, goes on the tray line. They dump the food waste into here, separate glassware from plates, from trays, goes into a dishwasher here, comes out over here, gets ready to be put back in storage for the next meal. And we have a 3-basin sink, which per health code you have to have, you know, wash, sanitize, rinse, and we have all we need for the students that are going to load this building. There's not really any reason why the kitchen has to be bigger. The district did bring forth that if a new school was built, they would build it such that there would be one main kitchen in the middle, which would service both sides. And while there's merit to doing that, and you could arguably cut down on the amount of kitchen staff members that you have and make use of efficiencies where you're not duplicating things, and we will go to the Riverside kitchen in just a little bit. Again, this is not a tear down the building thing because you'd rather have one kitchen instead of two. I'm looking at what I'm going to presume are both of the electrical panels that service the electrical needs of the entire kitchen. A couple things to point out. These are 208, that means they're 3-phase panels, okay? A lot of industrial equipment and kitchen equipment runs off 220 volt and 3-phase power. It's more efficient to do that. Okay, we can see that all of the circuits are filled, okay? We have circuit breakers in here, some of which are off. Likewise in this panel, okay? We have 2 available knockouts to put 2 circuits. Arguably those would be at best, you could put either 220 amps, or if you move things around to get 2 next to each other, you could have a 220 circuit at 30, 40, 50 amps, okay? Once again, determining if there's a need for upgrades involves looking at the amperage load of all of the things used that draw electrical power from this. If they need more power, in this case, I'm going to say after putting in 1 or 2 more circuits, you probably need another panel. Okay. These do not look like they're original to the building. They look like they were upgraded later. I don't see actually a date when that was done, but this looks to be within the last 20 years based on the type of panel and the conduit that's run to it, okay? Once again, nothing here stands out and screams at me, we have to tear this down and rebuild it.
Okay, I'm zoomed in on you.
I'm standing in what used to be the original library at Riverside High School. We're on the first floor, and this room obviously is not the library any longer. That's now in the media center wing, addition rather. And what we see in here, we've got monitors on the walls, 2 of them. I'm going to presume, if my memory is correct, my son's told me this area is utilized for lunch. Area for the kids to eat lunch. The main cafeteria dining area is behind the camera. We'll get to that in just a minute. And over here it says the Beaver Bistro. Okay, there's a recording studio. Looks like, you know, yeah, multimedia center area. Probably could be where they do announcements from. So again, we're looking at spaces that are not dedicated classrooms, but have multiple uses. Okay. Lunch space, this could easily be a classroom space. Since the monitors are on the walls, it could be an area for multimedia presentations. There's 2 of them. Again, we've got a VCT tile floor. We've got stucco walls that are painted. Everything looks to be in great shape here, even the ceiling, okay? There's really nothing wrong with this. There's even 2 air conditioning units in the windows over here, okay? Those are older window units. Pan with me over this way. Yeah, in fact, these could be original to the building. Double hung wood frame windows with a brass latch up here. And gosh, this one was left unlocked. Okay? Although the camera can't see it, but I want to point out, okay, that's an original wood window. Very likely original to the building. When I look at the outside, the windowsill is rotting away due to water coming back in. This window could easily be replaced and should be replaced. It's single pane. It doesn't have any energy retention value to it, but it works and it closes the window off. I'm going to go ahead and lock it. So once again, oh, yeah, we have 2 windows unlocked, so somebody could gain access to the building when they're not supposed to. And again, this just goes to the overall theme of my presentation, that we already have very useful space. We have, if we pan over this way, here's another thing that I'm talking about, okay? They talk about they don't have enough electricity and the conveniences of 21st century stuff. TV sets, monitors. This is some kind of a media cabinet. It's got electronic stuff in it, probably for a public address system or something like that. But what we notice here is without breaking down walls, okay, they tagged on to the electrical system, and this panel's locked, but if I open it, the feed is coming into here, and we can see all of the conduit going the various places in the room. I can see it coming out over there. I can see it coming out behind the camera. Once it disappears above the wall, it's over the ceiling, okay? This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Now, in certain instances, a hole could be cut in the wall and this could be recessed. But this is, I can assure you, this is per code. It's safe. It's got a lock on it. You can't get your hand in there and get electrocuted unless you start unscrewing the panel, okay? So this is clear evidence that, at least with regard to this room, this was upgraded to more modern than 1948 standards. I'm now in the main dining room of the Riverside High School building. Okay, it's 5 steps down from the main hallway. The children come in through double doors on each end of the room. And again, this is a beautiful cafeteria dining room, okay? We have nice benches and chairs and seats to sit at, a round table, You'll notice that around the room there are monitors. I count 1, 2, 3, 4 monitors, okay? And those all have multimedia hookups. They have power. So arguably this room could be used for a presentation, whether it be to faculty and staff, whether it be to students. This is obviously the cafeteria dining room, but in the periods of time when it isn't lunch, I'm going to presume it's probably used as study hall. It could also be used as other rooms when you need a bigger than a classroom size room to teach something, okay? Again, everything's in good repair. The paint's good, the ceiling tiles look pretty nice. One thing that if we tear the building down we might lose is all this artwork that has been created by past and present students. This is part of our legacy. And this goes to the larger question of, why do we want to tear down the place where 4 generations, 5 generations of people went to school? This was my school, okay? You tear it down, my school's gone, okay? I have a lot less reason to want to come back. I've got a lot less reason to want to donate money to the school or to come here for alumni events, okay? As we go to the back, I'm going to let the camera catch up with me and we'll talk about the serving lines. Standing in the back of the room, we see one of the 2 food service lines here. Okay, we see that there's as much room for 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 hot pans. There's a cold serving area. There's another cold locker for refrigerated items. And then the lady who collects the money to pay for your lunch sits here. On this side of the room, a smaller serving line. But once again, we have 2 complete serving lines for the students to come to at each lunch period. I'm told there's 3 lunch periods, so 1/3 of the school goes to lunch at a particular time, and half of that third, or about 17% of the kids, would presumably go through each line, okay? In warm and good weather, I'm told the students are allowed to exit the door here and dine outside at some of the concrete picnic tables around the grass if they wish to, okay? We can't get into the kitchen at this time to show you that, but you know, once again, everything I'm illustrating shows you that we have adequate facilities now. Any deficiencies can be created, and this is not a tear down the school building to fix issue. This is a maintenance, repair, and upgrade issue.